Okay, welcome to this week's All in the Mishpacha. Here you see the cover of Mishpacha magazine. New York's knowing problem. Can Eric Adams send those rats packing? Apparently, there's an infestation of rats in New York. Terrible problem. From what I'm hearing, most people don't travel with the subway anymore, so maybe that solves half the problem. I want to comment this week on Mishpacha magazine that although a lot of weeks I say a lot of things which I disagree with, there happened to have been a really good issue this week. Um, there's this section asked by Greenwald. Usually I don't agree with his answers, but this week he was asked about not such an interesting question, but for me at least, a mother of five children, two older girls, one got married, had a miscarriage, and she comes to her mother's home and wants to talk to her mother and kicks her younger sister of marriageable age out of the room in order to talk to her mother. And the mother feels bad for the younger daughter, feels bad for the older daughter. How should she manage? He says among other things, basically, it's not right to kick the daughter out of the room. If you want to speak something in private, go speak in private. Um, there's also another interesting article over here by Newberger. I think he's a rabbi in Muncie somewhere. It's called Check Your Bias. He was asked about, he wasn't really asked about, he was commenting on sending your child to Masifta, which is like high school, um, prioritizing the needs of your son before necessarily what the elementary school say is the best name for your kid. You have to know your kid the best. I agree with that also. Um, so a lot of things. They had a nice article over here about, I've never read this series. Something about Midos. Gotti Pollock, I always like. He has very interesting drawings. He's a very good drawer. And Baruch Chait over here. If you're not familiar with Baruch Chait, I wasn't familiar with Baruch Chait until I heard that he was part of the rabbi's sons. I don't know, one of the first Jewish singing sensations in the Jewish music world. Even before Mordechai ben David, I think him and Label Sharfman, who started Sharfman's seminary afterwards. Um, Interesting, he actually said that when I talk today about Jewish music, that's the one thing I want to focus on. He said that already in the 1960s or 70s, each of the students had a responsibility to raise money for the yeshiva. So he felt when it was his time, instead of going around collecting, he felt maybe he should produce an album and maybe sell it and make some money. So he gave some of the sample uh, tunes that he wanted to put in his album to the Rosh Hashiva, Henoch Leibowitz. I think he was passed away since then. I kind of heard that he's famous for this the song, which is a song called Ashrei Ish Shaboteach or something like that. I forgot the song. I don't know. It's like a very slow song with like slow guitar strands. People just strumming the guitar too. Uh, it's about fortunate is a person that believes in Hashem. It's a familiar song. I'm very bad with getting coming up with music in my head at the right time, but it was a famous song, and he brought it to Hanoch Leibowitz, and he said, "What does it sound like?" He said, "I prefer if you don't associate this song with the yeshiva." He wanted to sell the album, in the name of the yeshiva to help earn more money, because it was a song made for a kumsitz, right? That's what it was made for. It's a very, heartsig song. Nowadays it would be considered, sure, an okay song, even in the most from places. We'll talk more about from music versus not from music, but Jewish music in a second. But so he brought it to him, and Harry Leibowitz said, "It's too much. It's too much." This was 1960s, early 1970s. He told him, "It's too much to have a person playing guitar while you sing uh, a, a slow, meaningful song." This is what it was, a slow, meaningful song about someone putting their trust in Hashem. He actually combined with Gadi Pollock 20 years ago for some series about Midos, a series about Midos. Gadi Pollock, I have his book Perm Spiel. I remember I was probably not the only person who read some of his books in the Jewish bookstores. It was some book about riddles or something like that, looking at a picture and trying to answer some questions. Um, so he combined with him on that. Baruch Shea is an older rabbi. Gadi Pollock I like. So an interesting article to find out about this. I don't think I'm going to buy this book. But I want to talk today about Jewish music. At the end, they have a feature, a small feature. They have usually they write something about music and Jewish music at the end. They had a full page feature called Just Out, the new releases, fresh takes. Ori Davidi, you can see over here, a well-known singer. I'm not sure if he's Israeli or not. I don't know. For some reason, I have a feeling that he was born in Israel, but I don't know. Currently lives in America. He came out about 3 weeks ago with a new CD called Ani Chai. Um, when I heard the CD, I wasn't blown away, but I was really impressed. It was a very impressive album. I have a lot of his other songs on my playlist. You know, he's most famous for his song Muchanim, which talks about "Are you ready for Mashiach?" He has other songs like Nunu or um, Jump. Jump was a very good song. I remember seeing Jump with the music video the first time. I'm like, this is a little, catchy, whatever. It's a little catchy, but not a real song. But really, I really enjoy that song, Jump. He actually has Jump 2.0 where he puts in Hebrew lyrics. Um, I would say out of the 10 or 11 songs, he's got at least 5 good songs there, which is really good for an album. I think most of the stuff he puts out, a lot of stuff he puts out is quality stuff. Generally I prefer more, dance type of music than the slower songs, but even his slower songs are nice. The reason I want to talk about him is because of what he said. He said, I don't shop around much for material, he explains. Meaning, if you're familiar with Jewish music, I am not so familiar with Jewish music, but the little I know is from watching 2 shows. They have the show Kol Haba and Hamachinim, which are basically, the same type of idea, run by Menachem Toker, who's a famous radio host here in Israel, Kol Chai Music. He has this Moshe Shabbos program. They've had 3 competitions. If you know what The Voice or um, they've had singing competitions in America. The Voice is a singing competition. There's another competition. I forget what it's called in America. So they have a Jewish version of this singing competition. It's called Kol Haba. They've had 3 installments of it since starting in like 2015. So I watched pretty much all 3 seasons. They're finding the next Jewish singer, the best Jewish singer. And they have this newer program called Hamachinim, where people just send in songs that they compose, trying to find the best composer of a song. The reason that I'm highlighting this is because it's really 2 different things in the Jewish world. Most Jewish singers do not compose their own songs, meaning they're not making up the tunes, and they're not writing the words. So when you're not writing the lyrics, you're not making the tunes, people are just sending you songs, and the person who becomes famous in the Jewish world is the singer. No one cares who is the composer of the song. You might, have a close relationship with the singers because they rely on you for their music, but no one knows who these people are. Maybe the most famous is like Gusty Green. He became famous. He has a number of, successful compositions, but mostly, people are not. There are exceptions to this. I think Joey Newcomb writes a lot of his own music. Ari Goldwag writes a lot of his own music, and I really connect to these people. Ari Goldwag, Joey Newcomb, I like his music. And I'll talk about why I like the music in a second. And Uri Davidi, even though it sounds like he doesn't compose his own music, he says rather most songs evolved from ideals that inspired him, some of them general or even vague, which he brought to Yitzi Waldner to crystallize into songs. Yitzi's gift is being able to take a concept or message and craft it into a beautiful song, says Davidi. As for my part, over the years I've seen that nothing is haphazard. If I stay true to my core, singing what I really feel, then Hashem helps me out, sending ideas and the songs my way. Davidi feels that nowadays it's not just the music, but also the messages embedded within that propel music songs to success. Quote unquote, the message of a song, the words, the lyrics, has to resonate with listeners. I would venture to say that if other meaningless words were set to the melody of Echad and Yodea, which is a song he has on this CD, which actually came out a while ago and went pretty famous, or Murchanim, for example, those songs wouldn't go anywhere. He's basically saying how important it is that a person who's singing the song should at least connect to the words or the message of the song. I can't stress enough how important this is. When I was watching Kol Haba, there were certain singers, a big criticism of the judges a lot was that the singers didn't connect to the song that they were singing, or they picked the wrong song. Doesn't highlight their strengths, or they're not connecting to the song, meaning they're singing empty words and not connecting to the song. And it really is true. Not so much, I think, when you record a song, but especially when you pro a concert or a performance. There was this one guy on Kolobah, his name was Ephraim Chain, like a Chabad fellow. The guy was able to connect to every song, and he wasn't a great singer. He didn't have a great voice, but because he connected to the song, so his performance was that much better. And they were doing live auditions, live performances, and basically like a concert. And he was just better than everybody else to the point he got to the finals. He didn't win in the second season, but he really could have won because he had that ability to connect to the song. And he didn't just sing it with his head, he sang it with his whole body. When you sing with their whole body, it makes a different impression on the listeners. It's miragesh, as a lot of the judges would say to him. They would say, the technicalities, you didn't go high, the right heights in your pitch when you're supposed to. You didn't go as low as you're supposed to. You sang off key here. You weren't careful about being exact in your precise in your performance. But it doesn't make a difference because mirageshoti, you you caused me to be emotional, right? you so that's the most important thing with a song, is that you reach the heart of the listener. And when you're singing a song, when a person composes his own music, right, and he says the lyrics also, especially if both, and then he sings his own song, he's going to connect to that song because he's writing the song out of a personal connection. That's where he's getting it from. So with Joey Newcomb, a lot of his songs he composes, Ari Goldwag, you always have that element where they're connecting to that song. But even if you're not going to write your own music, right, you should be able to you should be like the concept, like Ari Davidi is saying over here, should be your concept, and that you should have a feeling behind that song. Because I was talking about live concerts, but even in the recording studio, if you can get behind that song, listeners can tell. Listeners, it can make you emotional for a slow song, and it also can make you happy for a faster song, a dance song. So I think that's very important. Um, I feel that it's the difference between the Jewish singing world and the non-Jewish singing world. Most people, a lot of artists in the non-Jewish singing world, I'm not familiar exactly, but I believe a lot of them, that's really what it is. At the Grammys, which is, um, the greatest musical award ceremony they have every year. There's four big awards. You got Album of the Year, you have New Artist of the Year, and there's two others. It's called Recording of the Year and Song of the Year. Now, Recording of the Year is basically Record of the Year, is the voice and the production, the arrangement people put in the musical, the instruments or the beat, and then there's the Song of the Year. What is the Song of the Year? It's the composer. That's the award. The Song of the Year is the composer. And they have these two disparate shows, with Menachem Toker. One of them is called Kol Haba, one is Malchinim. Kol Haba is, a lot more popular show, and it's just they're basically, you're singing other people's songs. If you're singing your own song, it's not going to be good for you, because you need to sing something that's a hit. So you sound better when you're singing a hit. Well, your song is not probably going to be a hit. If you're looking to be the next voice, you're not popular, and your song is not popular yet. So probably a good chance your song is not going to be a hit. So you want to sing something that's a hit. And looking for the new voice. And that's in Jewish music. We're always focusing on the voice, the externals, the voice. That's for the Jewish star in music. But in the non-Jewish world, usually it goes together, to the point that the Song of the Year is who composed the song and who wrote the lyrics for the song, as opposed to who actually sang the song. Because a lot in non-Jewish music, the reason I think this is true is because non-Jewish music is a lot more personal than Jewish music. Non-Jewish music, you're allowed to write about any concept. You want to write about your personal experience with religion, with politics, with love, all these things. A lot of singers write their own songs based on their own personal life, personal experiences. In Jewish music, you're really only allowed, right? You're only allowed to sing about certain concepts, right? You're allowed to sing about Yerushalayim, about Mashiach, about Torah, about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. These are general topics. Of course, we connect to them as a people, but on a personal level, um, you know, it's hard to put into words how you connect to Torah more than someone else connects to Torah in your unique way, or you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu more than anyone else. We have ideas of what a Kadosh Baruch Hu is, ideas of what the Beis Hamikdash is supposed to be like, ideas of what Mashiach, ideas of Yerushalayim, but there's no personal um, side to the music over there, and that's why a lot of the songs are outsourced by other people, other composers, and the more famous person is the one who's on the cover, who's singing the song. In non-Jewish world, there's a personal aspect where people, are writing a lot of their music from personal emotion, what happened in their life, what they're feeling right now, and they want to put that into, they're talented enough to put it into lyrics and to put it into a nice tune. So that's really the source of the music. That's really Song of the Year. The main award, Song of the Year, is the composer, not recording of the year. Obviously, there are singers out there in the non-Jewish world who take songs from other people, but it's more common in the non-Jewish world because you're able to sing songs about anything, any genre, anything you want. There's no restrictions like the Jewish world, especially in the From Jewish world, where a lot of communities don't even allow certain Jewish singers. Like Mordechai Shapiro was probably banned in a lot of Jewish, circles. I remember I was in yeshiva in Beitar, or Yaakov Freeman's yeshiva, and there were certain songs that you couldn't play at a Hanukkah Masiba. You couldn't play at um, at a Purim, dancing or something like that. Like once it went Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, you can't play that song over there. If someone, I think they try to play it, and the Rosh Hashiva said, turn it off. You can't have any song which sounds, even if it's not that, I think has a non-Jewish source, but even if it doesn't have a non-Jewish source, if it sounds like dance music, a lot of the new artists are singing like dance music. Or Davidi has this ability to somehow toe the line. Even his fast songs, I don't think his fast songs will be allowed in a lot of yeshivas like Panovich and my old yeshiva, um, but he's sort of towing the line. He's not going over it like Mordechai Shapiro introducing the idea of pop music into Jewish music. So and there's been a big divide now in recent years where the more yeshiva community has basically uh, run to the Hasidic music, right? Especially Hasidic musicians and Hasidic music, Mati Steinmetz, Shmuley Unger, and these type of people. Strong Shmuley Unger songs are not okay also, but Mati Steinmetz, more heartfelt nigunim, are those are the only things that are allowed. They oftentimes say that if the song moves the top of your body, it's Jewish music, but it moves the bottom of your body to want to dance, then it's non-Jewish music, even if it's sung by a religious Jewish from person. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that whole sentiment. I believe even Jewish singers should be able to sing about any topic they want. I don't know why it has to, if they want to sing about something personal that happened in their life, even about their wife or something like that, I think it should be okay. I don't think there should be a concept of Jewish music. I disagree with the whole fact there has to be Jewish music. If you're Jewish and you want to sing about the Beis Hamikdash or sing about Yerushalayim, sing about Hashem, I have no problem with that. But you should be able to sing whatever you want, whatever genre you want. And we're seeing this nowadays. Even rap is being introduced. This in Black is, legitimized rap in most of the From Jewish world. Mordechai Shapiro has legitimized pop music. Joey Newcomb really has like a new type of music, almost um, like Bob Marley type of music. I don't know. It's not exactly Bob Marley, but feel good music. I don't know. That's what I like to call Joey Newcomb. He's like a sensation because it's a different type of genre. It's like a new genre, like feel good music. It just makes you feel good. His music. It's a very good vibe. I like his music. But Uri Davidi, I feel that a lot of his songs, he's able to connect to the songs, even if he didn't crystallize the tunes or the words, but the ideas were important to him, and therefore you hear that when he sings. So it's important that the singer should be able to connect to the ideas, the words, and the concept and the tune behind it. And the second thing that makes Uri Davidi good is that a lot of times the words that he uses fit the tune, right? Yeah, when you compose something, you have two things. You have the tune and you got the words, the lyrics. So a lot of times the lyrics don't always fit the tune. For example, I mentioned, Mordechai Shapiro's Eino Milvado, Eino Milvado, Eino Milvado, Eino Milvado, Eino, right? So, he's singing about Eino Milvado. There's no one else besides HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world, and he's singing it like you're dancing, like you're dancing in a fast way. I don't know, maybe even twerking. It's like it's just not appropriate to that music for the words. The words is a concept of God. God is divine. God is supernatural, and to say, and that's what we're saying. There's nothing else besides God in the world, and you're dancing obviously dancing with your feet is not okay according to most Rabbanim, but even if you have no problem with it, it just doesn't go. The words don't go with the tune. That's just the problem. The words don't go with the tune. So besides the singer connecting to the tune and the words, you have to have the words and the tune align also in order to be an effective song. So now that song is still a hit. It still is a hit. It's just, it's hard to get into the song if you want to dance to the song, if you want to sing the song. You really can't get into a song like that. Somehow it is successful. There are songs. It's a successful song. It's one of his most famous songs. His famous recent song, Mordechai Shapiro. But when you think about it, it just doesn't go together. And maybe if we had that tune to other words, dun, 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 to words that made more sense. Something about dancing about Mashiach or something like that, or like we're having Mashiach came. Can see him now. I can see him now. Like that would be cool. Mashiach's gonna be a cool person, obviously, not someone who's big rabbi, wearing a frock and a Hamburg. He's gonna be a cool person, of course, because if he was wearing a frock and a Hamburg, how are most of the people? How is the whole world gonna relate to him, right? He has to be a cool person. He's gonna be a Jewish person, but he has to be a cool person. So, at the end of the day, those things are important in all music, not just Jewish music. For the singer to connect to the music, the concept, the tune, the lyrics, and also for the lyrics and the tune to go along together. If you have that harmony, right? The harmony, the singer, and the words and the tune all going together, oftentimes you're going to come out with a successful song. And I think Yori Davidi really typifies that. A lot of his songs, a good percentage of the songs he puts out are pretty successful. There's artists that put out a lot of CDs and they have a lot of successful songs, but the percentage is not there. But a lot of his songs, I would say 40% of his songs are hits. So he's a pretty good singer. I really liked the new album. Of course, I get it for free on Spotify. I don't have to be like one of those people that get this new 24/6. I've been reading about Mishpacha magazine, this new streaming app, a kosher streaming app, exclusive Jewish streaming app for Uri Davidi is one of the people, I think, and maybe also Yaakov Shweki or something like that. They signed or in Reach Rebo, they signed 6 people exclusively to be singing on their app. Obviously, you can listen to podcasts and things like that. It's a kosher with lots of filters. I didn't know you need filters for listening to things. I thought there was filters for watching things, but apparently you need filters for listening to things also. I've seen also this advertising, something called Naki Radio. It has to be a clean radio. They buy 5 for every floor in their house. Can't get a TV, so you get 5 TVs, you get 5 radios. The thing they don't mention is that every video also streams on Spotify, and I pay 20 shekel a month, which is around $6 a month to get, all the songs, as many skips as I want with no advertising. The day it came out, or the Davidi's album, I had access to it. I know I pirated it. Those people, it's really illegal. It's really against halacha, and it's illegal. What most people do in the frum world, it's like because the rabbi said you can't have Spotify, you can't have a smartphone, have Spotify, and you have to pay a lot of money for the 24/6. It's not free. This app, and you have to have a phone that's compatible with it. I don't know how you would play it on a computer or something like that. It's a fee. It's an expensive monthly fee. I think. I don't know. They didn't write what the fee was. I'm assuming it's a little more expensive because the Rabbanim assered all these things. So you have to pay a lot of money for them. And also, it happens. This is a problem going on for a long time about people pirating music. People buy CDs and they just copy them. I have relatives that have all the new Jewish songs, but they're all pirated. They all took them from other people, which is explicitly written on all CDs that to copy without the permission of the singer is against halacha and against the copyright. So you could ask a rabbi, maybe the rabbi will say it's okay. I know it's a big machlokas in the rabbanim, we allowed to pirate or not, but definitely it's not the right thing to do to steal someone else's music, right? That's why they're charging for a CD. I do believe that if you bought the CD, you have the right to use it whatever you want, but not to share it. Not someone else should download it and share it. You could, if he comes over your house, you can play it for him, but I don't think you should be able to whether halachically it's infringement on his rights, it's called gezela or not. But you're talking about a dinim d'oraisa, gezelim d'oraisa over here, so d'oraisa l'chumra. Even me, I'm making halakha, but you know, because the rabbis forbade people from having easy access to music for in a cheap way, people are doing it, you know, and they're forced to do this because they want all the latest music and they pirate it and they steal. And this is a problem. And you know, no one talks about it because no one wants to talk about these things, but it's a big problem. People are into music are always not going to buy every CD. First of all, it's not CDs. When I was buying CDs, I actually did do. There was a point in my life before I had a smartphone. I went to Galpaz and Google, and I would buy CDs. And the CDs I wanted, oftentimes they didn't have. They ran out of them, the ones that were popular, and they wouldn't get them back for weeks. It was a very, you know, hard. Now they basically closed down Galpaz. No one does it. No one uses it anymore because they have all these streaming services. And the people that want to get pirated, they just pirate. They're not going to buy every CD. I happen to amass a collection of about 15, 20 CDs from a certain period in my life where I was getting into Jewish music. Um, I tried not to pirate as much as I did. Maybe a couple songs I took. You know, I got an MP3 player. I took some songs for some people. It wasn't probably the best thing to do. But I got Spotify, and you know, I feel much better like that. That I'm doing it, you know, in a mutter way because you know these singers put their music on Spotify and they expect it to be shared with anybody. And I'm buying a premium package to get it, you know, without ads and without, you know, with as many skips as I want and as many downloads as I want. So I'm doing it in a mutter way, according to halacha. And people that are listening to Rabbanim either paying a hefty amount for this 24/6 and not getting exactly everything they want, or they're pirating. It's unfortunate. You go to yeshivas, and even the fromest yeshivas, guys that are into music, and not every guy, not every yeshiva, not every person in yeshiva, Yibachar in yeshiva, is a masmid. You know, even in the best yeshivas, I would say maybe 5-10% are masmid and they're learning all the time. The other guys, they need an outlet, and oftentimes the outlet in our society nowadays, especially in our Israeli Haredi society, is music, is Jewish music. So it's been pirated. I know relatives that pirate music all the time, which is a suffix d'oraisa l'chumra, you know, suffix d'gzela d'oraisa, you know, there's a lot of posts come out there, and if you're gonna be machmir by, you know, all your hechsherim or about kashrus, where a lot of the halachas are at most they're abundance, some of them minhagim, and you're gonna be so machmir all the hechsherim for eating, you shouldn't be machmir for stealing music, which is a suffix of gzela d'oraisa. It always bothers me so much in the society that I live in that people are so careful with ben adam makom, you know, your sukkah and your matzahs and your lulav and and Shabbos and you know people buying generators over here. And when it comes to benam lechavero, about stealing property and being rude to your neighbors and stealing songs, as an example, or stealing you know money, not being honest in business. You know, I'm not saying it only plagues the society that I live in; it plagues mankind, but if you're going to be so careful in one set of halachas, don't be so negligent. And I do find that in certain, you know, certain types of property management, because people live to get very close together here in Israel, and this pirating music over here, the non-Jewish world, they have Spotify. They're not pirating any music. You know, they get it for free. Or they want to pay a little extra for a month, they get, you know, premium service. But you know, unfortunately, because the Rabbanim's ban on you know on smartphones and Spotify, so you're doing people are doing isurim. According to a lot of these same Rabbanim that asked the Spotify, they also pass it's asked to pirate music. These Rabbanim are not going to pirate music. It's not listening to music. They don't care about music. You go to they tell you which songs not to play when they have the Hanukkah Masiba or something like that, you know. But unfortunately, this is a reality. The reality is that 90% of Yeshiva Bachram need the music, and you're making it inaccessible to them um, by not allowing things like Spotify. And it's called cancel culture. You know, everyone speaks about cancel culture. Yeshiva World News, cancel culture. You know, they cancel all these people from social media platforms. But unfortunately, the From Jewish world cancels the entire social media, right? Social media platforms cancel people from being on their platform. The From World cancels social media. They cancel the whole phone, smartphone. They cancel the whole internet. It's cancel culture. That's what it is. Cancel culture just means basically you're not investigating. You're not trying to find merit in what you're doing. You just don't want to discuss it, right? Because if you discuss it, you feel like you might be wrong. That's what cancel culture is. You know, you cancel someone if you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear the truth. So what it is, you know, you cancel the internet, anything even related to the internet or phones, because you don't want to realize that a lot of it is mutter, and we should allow these things and just tell people what maybe they shouldn't look at, and that's really what should be done. That's my opinion. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you next week.